everybody. Welcome back to another Two Peas in a Podcast, episode 18. We've obviously come of age. We're adults in the UK, at least. We have to wait till we're 21 in the US. But thank you for being here, as ever. And it's really nice to see you. For those that don't know us, how could you know by now? You're obviously living under a rock. My name is Katie, and I'm based here in the UK.
Hi, my name is Jessica, and I'm here in America.
I know, God love her. You know, someone's got to be, right?
The shade, y'all, every time. The shade.
I know. But it's kind of a slightly different vibe today, haven't we, babe? Because you picked this one, and as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, yes, I love this idea. So what are we doing today?
We are going to talk about our favorite books, our most impactful books that we've read, and maybe give you guys some suggestions on some books that you might want to pick up. Obviously, reading isn't for everybody, but if it is, then you would really enjoy this episode.
Yes. And well, nowadays, of course, you've got audiobooks too. So even if you don't have time to sit down and actually read, there's lots of options these days. So, hey, we could spark your curiosity and your interest, and you never know. You could get some really nice recommendations out of this, right?
Yeah, I always feel like I'm a little bit of a traitor when I listen to an audiobook because I feel like I should be reading the book, but
But to be fair, I don't own an e-reader, Kindle or equivalent, because I am old school and like pages. So, I get it.
Yeah, there's nothing like opening a book and like smelling the pages. Oh, it smells so good, especially the older ones.
I mean, two of my biggest weaknesses in life are bookstores and stationery stores. Like, I find it really hard to walk past like going in.
She does have an odd fascination with stationery, y'all. I don't know. She seems to really enjoy it.
I think it's a Libra thing. I do. I think it's a Libra thing. It's like I just like new stationery. The amount of journals and notebooks I've got, it's stupid.
Yeah. I don't know. I like libraries. Like I really like going into libraries and smelling the old books, looking around, seeing people with common interests, looking for books. It's just really nice,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So have you always loved to read?
Yes. When I was younger, when I was in school, like middle school, high school, I would finish a book a day. A book a day. That's all I did. When I wasn't in school, when I was at home, I was in my room hibernating, as my parents would call it, and I was reading books. My passion back then was like romance novels. I hate to even say it, it's a little cheesy. And I mean, like, guys, I was into like, this is so embarrassing, but I was into like the Wild Wild West, like the women that would get kidnapped and they'd fall in love with their captors. It's so embarrassing to even talk about this.
Oh, mister, what big arms you've got. Sorry.
Like, I loved Danielle Steele. Like, I loved her books. I loved any kind of romance because I was just, was lacking the boy company. Yeah. Let's just say that when I was growing up.
Whereas, I've always loved to read too. I mean, I am an only child, and I was that kid where people would knock for me to go out and play, and I'd go, "No, I'm reading." Yeah. Like, it's always been my thing. But I mean, it's funny, up until about the age of 10, 11, maybe, my favorite author was Roald Dahl. And he still holds, I know he's problematic as a person, I'm aware, but as an author, it's just, and Matilda especially, I must have read that book about 20 times. I love Matilda. Yeah. But then, I mean, this is the difference, right? You were into romance and I was into point horror books. Remember the point horror books?
That's crazy too, considering that you don't really even like horror now.
No, but there is something different, I think, between reading and watching. Because I can read Stephen King, no problem, doesn't bother me. Yeah. But like watching stuff, obviously it's for such a visual person, it just bothers me. So,
yeah.
Point horror books. Great. Yeah, point horror books. I think I've read them all at some point. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was more of a fan of the Goosebumps growing up. Like, I read that, and then I don't know. I was just so into romance. Like, going nowhere fast, guys. Like, I was just like, I was obsessed with it. Like, obsessed with romance growing up. I don't even read romance anymore.
Considering our lives, so yeah, I don't do horror, but I've been through some horror stuff of my own in my own life. And you've had interests and issues with romance. So, it's interesting how it goes.
That's very kind of you to say some issue of romance. It's all been an issue. Like, but whatever. I definitely became disillusioned with romance novels. And I'm just like, ugh, like I roll my eyes at them. But no shade to anybody who enjoys romance novels. I get it, guys. I do.
I remember being, just before we could start, I remember being, so having a sleepover at my grandparents' house. And I mean, I'm born in the 80s, so like, phones and laptops and, all that. I didn't have anything. So I would take a book, but if I finished the book, I was kind of looking, and there was a bookshelf next to the bed. And a lot of it was like war novels and, all kind of really old-fashioned stuff. There was one book, and I read it in secret because I thought, really, I shouldn't be reading this. I knew it. I knew I was too young to be reading it, but I couldn't stop reading it. And it was Riders by Jilly Cooper. And I must have been about 12, 13.
Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a little risque.
It was very, yes, it was very juicy in parts, all of that kind of, rolling in the hay, if you get my drift.
Yeah, I remember like being really young, like with a flashlight under my blankets reading, and I'd be like, oh my gosh.
I was literally that kid where like my mom would like, turn the light off, and I'd be like, I'd wait for it to go downstairs, and then I would have my lamp and I'd be reading. And then they'd come, I'd hear them, I'd like turn the lamp off and pretend to be asleep. Yeah, me too.
Sometimes I didn't even know what I was reading. Like,
Yeah.
With some of that stuff, like more of the more passionate, risque stuff, I had no idea what any of that was that I was reading. I just was like, oh, wow. Like,
Oh, bless
okay,
that.
people, we're going to go ahead and get started on this. Now, how we're doing this is we have some of our own books. I only have one book that I've created yet thus far. So I'm going to introduce that book, but Katie has a couple books that she has created. She's created many. You want to tell us about that, your journey into writing?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a whole, I've spoken about this on previous podcasts, but for those that haven't seen or watched, why haven't you? Go back and watch, how dare you? But essentially wanted to be a writer forever, but had really low self-esteem, low self-worth, all that crap. And got to the point where I couldn't deny the call anymore. And I had my twins in 2012 and was a stay-at-home mom for 4 years because childcare is really expensive. And thought, if I'm ever going to do it, now's the time. And people go, but you had kids. And I was like, yeah, but it was the only thing in my life that was mine, that was just for me. I wasn't about other people. So I would write, I would get snatches of time. I get greedy with the time I had, and I always had my notebook with me, and I would write it in bits. And I loved it. I loved it. I mean, I had in my head that I was going to like send it off to a publisher, and they were going to sign me up, and I was going to be a best-selling novelist. It doesn't happen like that, sadly. Not well, it can, but most of the time it doesn't. So I self-published. But yeah, I mean, it's been 9 books thus far, and I'm currently writing my 10th, with co-authoring it with another writer, which is awesome. It's a novel, and it's hard to tell. I would say we're probably around halfway through. I would say,
Yeah.
But I've been loving the process. So yeah, if someone's got and of course I book coach now, so anybody's got an interest in writing books, chat me up, even if it's just a chat, because it's my passion. I love it.
Yeah. I think out of all the books that you've written, because I have quite a few, I'm of course a big supporter of her. I have, I think, every book that she's written pretty much. I'm really looking forward to this one that you're writing now, where you're partnering up with the other author. Like, I'm really looking forward to this one. I don't want to give anything away because it's
no. All I will say is it's very different from anything I've written before, and because of that, it's kind of stretching my creativity, and it's fun. So yeah. Anyway, we'll keep you posted. Right? Watch the space.
Yeah. One of the things that got me into writing my book, and continues to inspire me to write, I am a very passionate person, a very passionate creative. So if I don't feel into it, I'm not into it. Katie knows this. So I have several books that I've just like, I'll get to it when I feel passionate about it. But one thing that really inspired me was actually something that Katie had said, was that if you can't find the perfect book, write it. And that was something that really hit home for me, because with my book, I'll just go ahead and introduce it, Animal Souls. This is the book that I wrote. I wanted a book like this. I wanted a book, a reference, because I'm very much into animal totems, animal spirit guides. I connect with animals a lot in my everyday life, signs and synchronicities that come through from spirit, but also in my readings that I give and my work that I do with my clients. I'm so passionate about animal guides. And so I wanted a reference point where I could go and I could look at any time and just have something. And for other people too, because there were books out there, but there wasn't anything like this, you know? And so, yeah, Animal Souls came to life. It took me, I want to think, a little bit over a year to write it.
Yeah.
And publishing for me, like, I'm the type of person that gets really in over my head with things. I think I can't do as much as I actually can do. So the idea of publishing and editing my own book felt just impossible. So I was like, well, I'll go to Katie. And we've talked about this several times. She was like, why would you go to me? What do I know about books? Even though I've written a million of them, I don't know anything about this. So she helped me with this. She helped me edit it. It was definitely a journey. It was the first book that she helped edit and publish, like her whole entire career besides her own. It's what started her book coaching. It's what really, you know, inspired her, because she saw the joy that it was giving to me. And I feel like she felt so accomplished with it that she was like, I want to do this for other people. So how many people have you helped with books so far?
24. 24. And in that 24, one of them, the children's book, won an award, and I've had Amazon bestsellers. So, you know, no shame.
Yeah, so she's working with some very talented people here. And yeah, if you haven't seen this book, this is on Amazon. You can find it, guys. And again, it just has different animals that, you know, I wanted to talk about. Like, here we have the monkey. Then I just have keywords for it. I talk a little bit about the monkey and what it is as an animal guide. And also, I like to talk about what your personality would be if you have the animal as your spirit guide, like how that actually correlates and relates to you as a person. So I just love this book. I'm just really proud of it. And it is dedicated to my soul sister, Katie, just so everybody knows, just so we're clear on that. But anyways, that's my book. I only have the one, so we're gonna move over to Katie. So far, yeah.
You know, there are books in progress, like you said, so watch your space, right? But we'll see. But yeah, I was super proud of you. And one of the things that we talk about a lot is that not only angel numbers, which we talk about all the time, but also going, oh, I've just seen birds, or I've just seen this animal, or I've just seen this animal. And I'm like, I know she is my Google. Jess is the person I go, I've just seen this. What does it mean? You know, considering how much questions come my way, it's nice that I can go, okay, you're the expert on this. What does this mean? Because I'm lost.
Yeah, there's like, it's funny because there's literally been times where I've looked out my back porch and seen, like, I don't know, like 4 crows on the fence, and I'll message Katie. I'll be like, there's mischief afoot. There's bird bitches flocking. Like, I know it. Because for me, when I get a group of crows, it's like not a great energy. I know some people really like the crow energy, but for me personally, I just, yeah. Which that's what's so great about working with animal souls and animal spirits, is that, you know, you can kind of tailor make it for what you connect with. Like, if you get a weird vibe off of an animal, you can kind of use that animal as a sign that maybe something's not right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm very appreciative of this book. A lot of people have bought it. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback off of it. And yeah, it's kind of inspired me to keep chugging along with this book process I'm working on currently. I'll tell you that much.
Rampus. Bless you. Well, no, I'm very, very proud of you. You are awesome. But before we dive into our favourite books from other people, I didn't want to bring out all 9 because that's just showing off as far as I'm concerned. I'm British and we don't do that. The very fact that I'm like 24 and I was kind of a bit like, you know, that's rare for a British person. Anyone who's watching is British will tell you. But so I thought we'll do 2. And I'm not going to spend like a whole hour talking about this. I'm going to briefly explain what it is, why I wrote it, and why it means so much to me. I love all 9 that I've written. I do. But these are the ones where really they mean a lot more to me. They mean a lot to me, these 2 books. The first one is this one. This is Happiness Make Your Soul Smile. And one of the reasons that this means so much to me is that this was the first book that was picked up by an actual publishing house, a publishing company, and traditionally published. It came out in 2018. And so what that means is it was in bookstores, it was in libraries. I literally, I love this story so much. I went into, there's a really well-known chain here in the UK called Waterstones. They're like the biggest bookstore in the UK. And I walked in with my mum and I saw this on the shelf and I literally started to cry, happy tears, not like, oh God, help me. No, it's just really happy. And the poor cashier was like, oh my God, are you okay? And I went, that's my book. And she ran and I was like, what? And she got stickers and a pen and the sticker said signed by the author. And she said, can you sign them? And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, oh, someone's got copies of my book with like, I'm sure, tears from me because I was literally just sobbing while I was signing them. But it was just, it's incredible. And the reason I wrote it, which is why it also means a lot to me, is because not only if a book doesn't exist, you should write it, but I also write books where I am in my life at that time. So I write the books that I need to read. I'm writing it for myself first before I write it for anybody else. And I read this when I was going through the breakup of my marriage, because, which is a whole story, and one I don't really want to talk about on here, to be honest with you. Jess knows why, but anyway, that's a whole different conversation. But it was a very, 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 very difficult time for me. And I found I didn't know who I was. I lost myself for a long time. I had to have therapy and antidepressants and came out in the whole heap of medical stuff. And I was trying to find my happiness again. I was trying to understand what happiness meant to me. And by understanding that, I was like, I can't be the only one who's confused with this stuff. We have this thing in life, be happy, but no one tells you how. No one tells you what that looks like, right? And also what can get in the way of it. So that really was the book, was what's blocking you from your happiness? How do you move past it? And then how do you bring more happiness into your own life? And with examples and exercises, and I'm just proud of it. It's freaking awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, I remember, I actually very vividly remember that day where you had seen your book in the store and you were so excited and it was just awesome. I remember the day that you went and did your book signing too. I was like, wow, okay. It's really inspiring, guys. It's like, it's more than just like how successful something is. It's just about watching somebody have a dream, complete that dream. It's so inspiring because sometimes we just don't feel like we're able to follow through with what we believe and what we want for ourselves. But if you work hard enough, you can see your dreams achieved.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I can say I'm not, you know, yet. I'm not a New York Times bestselling author yet. But the fact that I had this dream for literally since I was about 6, 7, 8, and you know, to see it come to fruition, it's just mind-boggling. I wish I could go back in a time machine and just say to her, "This is going to happen," you know, because I would never have believed myself. To be fair, I'd probably go, "Yeah, right, whatever, weirdo."
Yeah, and to be clear, that's not your first book. Your first book is Chasing Rainbows, right?
Yeah, my first.
Yeah, I have that book over there on the shelf.
2013 was my first book. So this was 5 years later, and it was only my third book. That's book number 3. So the first 2 were self-published. And again, what I always would do, because I always had an itch that needs scratching, which is like it could be published, and I want to try. So the publishing process is long. It can be through publishing houses.
Yeah.
I mean, even when it's picked up and you sign the contract, it can be up to a year that actually comes out in print.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. They're like, the book's coming out.
And stressful too, right? Because through watching you with other people, I've noticed that sometimes publishers will try to take control of it, change things that you've written.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, my 4th book was the whole thing with that. They wanted to change the name of it. They wanted to change the cover. They wanted to change things that were in it. It's supposed to be like a partnership. It's a collaboration, but ultimately it is your baby and your creative control. So you kind of have to fight a little bit for what you want. But yeah, I've lost what I was saying now. It's gone. But yeah, the point is,
I interrupted her.
Perimenopausal brain. But yeah, I had an itch I wanted to scratch, and so I would always send them off to publishers. But I got to a point where I was like, I'll try, but I'm not expecting it.
Yeah.
I was like, my expectations were on the floor. So when to have the email, and they said yeah, because funnily enough, on my first one, I had an email from a publisher to say yes, we'll publish it. And luckily, my logical brain, my Libra brain, kicked in, and I went and researched the company. And it's a vanity press where you have to pay to publish. So they wanted like, I think it was about £2,000 off me to publish the book, and I'm like, no, absolutely not. In my opinion, you should never pay to publish.
Yeah.
Ever. So no, and I'm glad that I listened to that, because look how it can pay off.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of you for that. I know how excited and happy you were. So
thank you. Thank you. And then let me just say, we'll do this before we get onto other people's books. This is the other book that means a lot to me. This is self-published, yes. And there was a time where self-publishing was seen as something that was lesser than. Again, it was like a vanity press kind of deal that you sell to your friends and family and nobody else would buy it. But I think that that's changed a lot, especially in the last 5-6 years. People are taking self-publishing more seriously now, thank goodness, because it puts the control back into the author's hands where it should be. But everyone who knows me for even a little bit knows how much women's empowerment means to me, and how I'm just an advocate for women. And I do my women's event every year, have done since 2019. In where I live in Norwich in the UK, and I have women coming and sharing their stories, and it's just a magical event. A lot of stress, as Jess will know. The week before I'm like, I'm not doing this again, and then I come home and I'm like, I can't wait for the next one. That's me all over. But I have people messaging me going, I can't come. It's a shame because I'd love to talk, and I realised that it's not just, of course, it's not just the local vicinity. Women everywhere have stories. So I decided to to collaborate a collection of women's stories and put them in a book. Now, there are 2 volumes of this. This is the first volume, and it's called, although there's no title on the front cover, there's just that picture, which by the way, if you search for this on Amazon, it won't come up. Because of that picture, you have to go via my website and click the link, and then you'll find the book, because that is deemed inappropriate picture, even though you can't see anything, that because she's naked, but you cannot see her boobs and you cannot see her genitals.
I was about to say, for all that we know, she's in like a sports bikini or outfit, because I don't see anything that shows me that she actually is naked.
But because it could be deemed, children could see that picture and they could be scarred for life. So you won't find it if you search, which in hindsight I probably would have chosen a different picture. But I love the picture because it's vulnerable, right? So women's stories, vulnerability, authenticity, the naked self. That's why I picked it. But it's called Rise, an anthology of women's stories. I should know it's mine. And let me just read you the back quickly. Not too long. Not too long. Women's stories matter, and we all have a story to tell. By telling our stories, we can help a woman feel less alone in the world. We could give her hope, inspiration, and guidance to change the course of her own destiny. Stories are not just filling time. They help us see ourselves and to feel less isolated in the world. There are millions of women out there, each one dealing with her own challenges, pain, and issues. And many of them will convince themselves that they are the only ones that have been through something like this, that no one really cares, that they're all alone. But nothing could be further from the truth. The 21 stories you are reading in this anthology are told by some phenomenal women. My heart goes out with love and gratitude to each and every one of them for allowing me to hold space to share their story here. Stories of pain, heartbreak, and trauma, but also stories of hope and transformation.
Yeah.
Very, very proud.
Amazing books, by the way. I have both of them, obviously. And it's just amazing stories from different women and situations they've been through. And it's just like one story after another showcasing the strength of like just the human condition. So I would highly suggest that one.
Yeah, if you want a bit of, thank you. If you want a bit of inspiration, a bit of hope in your life, a bit of light in the darkness, other people's stories will lead the way. So
yeah, I love that. I love reading other people's stories when I'm struggling through something. It helps me. It puts things into perspective.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Well, needless to say, this woman is awesome, y'all. So please give her dues, right? A round of applause for Katie, because she is everything. Honestly, I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you, gorgeous. Thank you. So away from our own books, because, we got to talk about them. What was your first pick for a book that you love and inspired you?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, that's why I asked you. Duh.
Well, okay. She's sassy. I'm gonna go with a book that I have read multiple times and has shaped the way that I see spirit in general. And this is Conversations with God.
Great book.
And this is by Neale Donald Walsch. It's such an old book, guys. It's stained up. It's been it's falling apart here. I've had this book. It's got a bent feather for a bookmark. It has been read probably 3 or 4 times by me. And then also it's just been, I'll pick a random page and read.
Yeah.
This book is amazing. It is basically about a man who, he was at the end of his ropes. He was hitting rock bottom. And he basically got really sassy with God. And he was like, well, if you're so perfect or you have all the answers, why don't you help? And all this. And then what he says is that he felt this power come through him that kind of took over. It's almost like automatic writing, and it started answering his questions and writing back to him. And this is basically his conversations with God. I get goosebumps. It's such an awesome book. It talks about everything: societal, who we are, why we're here, why we go through what we go through, how to change our circumstances for the better. It's our social structures, why we have countries, why we have laws. I mean, it is amazing. This book, actually, there's things in this book you can't comprehend, like when you read. Like, you, with your own mind, you're like, it's so profound that you can't comprehend the knowledge and the wisdom that's coming through. It's just so real that it's from something. Now, I'm not here to debate whether this is actually him having a conversation with God. I don't see why that would be something that would feel unrealistic. If God talks to us, surely we could talk back. But I will say that just the amount of knowledge and wisdom that comes through this book, it makes me feel like there was definitely something of a higher power that was involved. I don't know if you've ever heard of this book, Kate. I'm pretty sure you have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an amazing book. I probably haven't read it as many times as you have, but it is a phenomenal read.
Yeah, it's just, and there's a couple books. I think there's like 3 of them.
Yeah.
It's been very controversial. A lot of people call this person a fake, a fraud, of course, all that stuff. I actually have another author in here that's been called a fake and a fraud. So as you guys will see by the end of this podcast. I'm like, what the hell are we doing? By the end of this podcast, you'll see I like controversial things. But I would highly suggest getting this book. Like, honestly, I would suggest getting it. If I could put it in everybody's cart and buy them this book, I would, because I feel like it's so valuable, so important for you to read at least once. So that's my first one. I don't want to spend an hour talking about it. I could just go on and on about some of these books. So,
well, that's great, because there's no point just grabbing random books off a shelf. They should. That was the whole point. It's books that inspire us. It's books that we feel passionate about. So yes, it's good that you could speak for an hour, but we also are very aware of time. So
it was so hard to just choose 5 books.
Oh, don't.
It was so difficult.
As people don't realize, I moved house 3 weeks ago, and I went obviously going through stuff and getting rid of stuff in my old house, and I have a lot of books, obviously. And I was very strict with myself. I was very good, and I went through the books that either I'm not going to read, let's be honest, or I didn't really like, and gave them away to charity. But I still have a lot of books. So I was like, I have to sit there like that. No, that one's better. But I love this one. Not a bad thing, But anyway, so I have a few. I still have a few. I didn't have too many, but don't worry, I do have a few. And so I want to talk about this one first. Now, I recommend this book to everybody. Literally. If you work with me, I'm going to mention this book. I'm going to say this is a book that I highly recommend that you read. And I love it. It is life-changing. It's very easy to read because they're very short pieces. I don't want to call them chapters, short pieces of writing. And the way she writes, I found it, I consume it. It's just wonderful. And it's Untamed by Glennon Doyle. And it is phenomenal. Because, well, first of all, for those who don't know Glennon Doyle, please go and check her out. She's an incredible woman. She had what she thought was the perfect life for a long, long time. She was married with children, and she was involved with the local church, and she was the soccer mom, and she was living the life that she was told that she was supposed to live. But she was also hiding in the closet with her journal and feeling miserable and lost and alone, and couldn't understand why she wasn't happy when society and her family and her community told her that she should be happy. That something was missing. And so she goes on this journey of self-actualization, self-discovery, and starts to kind of really understand herself with therapy, from right back, and understanding how she shows up in the world and her connections and her relationships. And partway through the book, she goes off on this like conference thing, and she meets a woman, and they fall in love. And she realizes that she's been a lesbian in hiding all this time, and that's why she wasn't happy. And so the whole book is about being untamed, is untethering yourself, wilding yourself from what society, the boxes that we are put in, the people who we're told we should be, and actually finding the person you actually are. And it's so powerful. And she's funny, and she, one minute you're laughing, next minute you're crying. Like, it's just, it's life changing. I love this book with everything that I have. Highly recommend. I mean, literally, who were you before the world told you who to be?
Yeah, that's a powerful message.
So if you're looking for a read of like, you're feeling a bit like you're not living the life that you think that you could be living, or you're feeling lost in your own life, or you don't know who you are anymore. I coach a lot of women, and I find that women get to a point in their life where they're like, is this it? Or is this the rest of my life now? They've got everything they're told they should have, but they just, and I think if you're feeling that way, a book like this kind of starts to really shift things up here, so that you can really start to ask yourself those deep questions.
Yeah.
So
well, it sounds really profound. I haven't read it personally, but it sounds really powerful.
Yes, it is. So
right up your alley, to be honest.
Yes. And again, we pick books that we resonate with, right? So
yes,
there. Yes.
We do.
Yes. So you go.
Okay. So next is another author that is very controversial.
Of course.
This is the late and great Sylvia Browne.
Oh, yes. Very controversial figure.
She is very controversial. She has been called a fraud and a fake by many, but I just love her energy. I love who she is. I love what her message was, and everything that she stood for. This book, I have so many of her books, but I had to pick one that actually hit home the hardest for me. And this was, I think, the first one that I read from her. It's Blessings from the Other Side. This is what she looks like. This is Miss Sylvia Browne.
So for those who don't know, never heard of her, she was a psychic medium, right?
Yeah. So she's a psychic medium, and she had a guide that she would talk to, and she was just very open about it. She actually has a son who is a psychic medium as well. I never was able to get a reading from her because they were incredibly expensive.
Okay.
Like, holy crap, because I did look into it, but I was reading her books from when I was like a teenager. Like, she was like probably the first dip into spirituality that I had. And Blessing from the Other Side basically talks about you, why you're here. It talks about our charts. It talks about exit points in our life, like when we choose to leave, why we choose to leave, the themes that we choose for our life, the relationships that we choose to have, what happens when we do pass away, and we go to the other side, what life can be like on the other side. I mean, it is, and of course, it's, if you find yourself raising your eyebrow and you're like, well, I don't know if I believe some of this stuff. I mean, it's okay, take what resonates and leave the rest. But it's just so fascinating to hear about and read about. And she's just so encouraging. I just really just can't speak enough about Miss Sylvia Browne and the books that she's created. And yeah, there's just so many of them that I wanted to grab, but I was like, I can't just choose only her books. So if I had to recommend one, Blessings from the Other Side is it. It's like an introduction to the other side, an introduction to life, your spiritual contracts that you have, why you're here. And yeah, I just really like this book. I'm a fan. I've actually had this book a couple times and then got rid of it. Like, here's a chapter on guilt and why we feel guilt and how it actually connects to our spiritual path. I mean, it's just awesome. And it's another book that I'll sit there like, why we have birthmarks, y'all.
Yeah.
Why are birthmarks significant? It's just one of those things where I'll sit there and I will just shuffle through and then choose something and then read. And there's usually a message for me. So highly suggest getting this book, guys. I can't even gush about it enough.
We love books like that. Books where also it does become like an oracle that
Yes.
you can open at random and get what you need to hear in that moment if you trust the message. I think they're incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I love that. And again, she is just so awesome. Her writing is very easy. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
She has an element of sarcasm to her, which I really enjoy. She has a book too that I used to have. I don't know where it's at, but it was basically predictions, and it's predictions all the way to like the year 3000. Like, it's way out there. Some of the stuff that she said has actually been proven that it came true. Like, she did talk about COVID, like years and years, decades before it even happened. She talked about there was going to be something, and she saw people wearing masks. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Good Lord. Okay. Interesting. Again, I haven't read that one, but I may have to go and check it out now because I'm intrigued. So we should recommend to each other now. This is good. So my second book is another author who I adore. I absolutely love her. I've actually have had, it was not so much a personal reading. She calls it your kind of guide on words for the year. She's kind of like this special package that she does. But she is a phenomenal writer. I love her style. I love that although it's spiritual, she's got this sassiness and this kind of tongue in cheek, and she's not afraid of saying the odd profanity. You know, she's very British. But highly recommend. She's an Oracle Dex as well. If you're looking for a spiritual writer or teacher, I suppose, who is a bit, isn't kind of neat and pretty, someone who's a bit more real and a bit more down to earth, I recommend this woman highly. And the book, again, I could have picked it. I got all of her books, but this is the book that really, and again, I recommend this one to everyone, especially women, is Witch. And it's by Lisa Lister. I fucking love this book so much.
Yeah.
So for those that kind of, the first part of the book. So if you're not interested necessarily in witchcraft and Wicca and all of that, and working with, the wheel of the year and the moons and your own cycle and stuff, then that's kind of more the back bit of the book. The front bit of the book is a section that every woman specifically should read at some point in her life, because if it doesn't hack you off and fire you up, nothing will. Because literally this is about what happened with the witch trials and about how women were persecuted. And I know it wasn't just women. And I've done lots of research on the witch trials. I know it wasn't just women, but a lot of it was women, right? And how women are still being persecuted today, and we don't realize it. It's almost like we've been brainwashed. And when you start to see society and what it does to women, oh, you get mad. Oh, you get really annoyed. But not in the kind of, I'm angry and now I'm going to go and I'm going to shout at my kids. It fires you up to action. You feel like it's a call. And, again, with all the work I do, I will read this at least once a year, if not a couple of times a year, it kind of realigns me. So, if you're feeling like, again, you want to explore that side of your spirituality, if you're interested in witchcraft or Wicca, or more earthbound spirituality, yes. But also if you're interested in, what happened with the witch trials and how they're still women are still being persecuted, highly, highly recommend.
Yeah. And she's not lying, because she actually sent this book to me, y'all. I have a copy of this book on my bookshelf, and I thought about selecting it, but I was like, you know what? I guarantee you she's going to pick that book, because she believes in it that much that she bought a copy and sent it to me.
Yes.
So, yes,
it's just awesome. It's awesome. Well, again, one of those ones that I recommend for everybody. So there you go.
Yeah. And also, like, the witch trials, like, that is something fascinating. Like, if you want to look into that and see how mania and religion, it's not a great mixture, like, it is crazy, because a lot of the witch trials was like, if you didn't like somebody, you could say they're a witch and be done with them. If you wanted somebody's husband,
oh yeah,
you wanted their position,
Yeah.
in the community.
Yeah.
You know?
And also to save yourself. So you could rather than them looking at you, you would go, it's not me, it's her. You know,
Yeah.
we're encouraged to kind of sneak around and tell on each other. So it was just
it's crazy reading about it. Like it's yeah. Wow. Okay, well, I'll go next. I think I have more books than you. I picked out.
No, I've got 3 more on the table, but I didn't
Okay,
have
okay, we have the even amount then.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna keep it going with the spiritual train because the last 2 books are not spiritual.
Do you know what? I
Spiritual,
swear to God, me too. I've got 1 more spiritual one and I've got 2 that are not. Go
yeah,
with
I
it,
have so
brilliant.
many, like, I don't know. That's what I'm into.
Yeah.
So okay, this is a book that a lot of people will notice from my channel. This is Angel Numbers by Kyle Gray. Kyle Gray, he's become a little bit of a controversial figure, but I actually really enjoy his decks. I enjoy his work. I connect with his decks really easily. So I find him to be awesome at making decks. So we can't deny that, you know? And sometimes we have to separate the art from the artist. But Kyle Gray, this is such a great reference point. I look at this book at least once a day, at least. It is nothing, and you will see here because we have all of these marked because with my readings that I do on the Moody Tarot, we will pick angel numbers, not before every reading, but a lot of readings, and I mark them off. And if I see any kind of numbers and I look in the book, I mark them off myself. So you're seeing here, this is like, I have read this freaking book. I love this book. Guys, I'm just going to pick a random one. 421, your angels are encouraging you to focus lovingly on your relationship with yourself. Okay, so if you see 421, that could be what that is talking about for you. This is so accurate. And again, it's another book that I flip through. I use it like an oracle and I pick a message. It's stupidly cheap. What was he thinking? It's stupidly cheap. It's like to $11 to $13 on Amazon.
Yes. And I hate to kind of blow my own trumpet a little bit, but I recommended you that book.
No, you don't. You love blowing your trumpet. What are you talking about? She did though. She did recommend this book to me, and oh my God, I love this book.
It's amazing because the one I had before, which is another controversial figure, is Doreen Virtue's Angel Numbers. I had that book. And of course, actually, it's funny because angel numbers are angel numbers. You know, the numbers that mean what they mean. But I prefer Kyle's style of writing. It feels more grounded. It feels more accessible than Doreen's. Doreen's was always a little bit airy-fairy for me.
Yeah, I actually have a book from her. I was thinking about it. It's, what is it? Ascended Masters and Archangels, I think it is, from Doreen Virtue. I bought it like at a thrift shop a while ago, and anything Doreen Virtue, if you see it and you're interested in it and you see it at a thrift shop, you should probably get it because none of her stuff is in print anymore. You will not find it anywhere. So if you see it at a thrift shop and it's like, you want to get it, I would get it. But I really love, I have another angel number book that is right here, and it's just the regular angel numbers by like a nameless, she's not nameless, she's Mystic Michella. I'm sorry, Mystic. You're not nameless, girl, you're somebody. But I just feel like this book is so incredibly powerful. Like, it's just a great reference. It's small, you can keep it in your purse, you can take it with you, you see it, you keep seeing a repeating number. Oh, cannot gush about this book enough. And I've turned so many people on to getting this from the Moody Tarot. They're like, what book are you using? Powerful. Very powerful.
I think Kyle should be giving you some kind of money for the recommendation.
Honestly, I would love to be sponsored by like book companies. That'd be awesome.
Can you imagine?
I would actually really love to talk to him. There's a couple people like in the larger spiritual community, because I feel like we're kind of small fish swimming around here, and there's big sharks out there. There's a couple people that I'd love to talk to.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You know, especially the controversial ones, right?
Yeah, for sure.
She'd be all over that and then some. So yeah, really good. A great recommendation. I have that too. I love it. So yeah, highly recommend. So book 4 for me is a book I don't recommend it as much. I recommend it to people who I know are going to really connect with it because it's very powerful. It's a bit of a longer read, but it's very, very powerful. And it's Women Who Run with the Wolves by, I've got to say it, Clarissa Pinkola Estes. And I probably butchered that, and I'm sorry. It's incredibly powerful. Again, it's a bit of a bigger read. It will take you some. And again, look, if I kind of flick through,
So funny because you like when you're looking at just the title and you turn it, you're like, oh wow, that's a thick one.
It's a big book, and it's a book that I have read now 3 times. And of course, shocker, it's about stories and women and wildness. So there you go. It's my bag, right? So she takes traditional stories and then talks about how it relates to women now, back then, but also now, and what messages and lessons we can take from that story. So literally, some of the stories, I mean, we've got like Bluebeard, we've got, who else? We've got The Doll in Her Pocket, Hymn for the Wild Man, Skeleton Woman, The Ugly Duckling, like The Red Shoes. Like, she goes through all these old stories and breaks them down, and then talks about kind of the real lessons and meaning for us as women. And again, it's all about this connection to the wild within, because I am a huge believer, as you probably gathered, that women are shoved into these pink boxes of how, be quiet and neat and pretty and well behaved and do as told. And I just want to rip the box up and chuck it out the window. So any wildness to me is like a callback to ourselves. And I love books that help us do that.
Yeah, that sounds incredibly interesting. I'm almost like wondering, because it looks so familiar. Like, did I get that for you for Christmas or something?
I can't remember. I did have a copy, and then I got a second copy, but I can't remember. It's been a while.
That looks so familiar. Like, I remember like looking at it, and I think that because what we do for Christmas and our birthday is we send each other our Amazon wish list, and she always has books, and I try to usually get her a book every time. So
yes, exactly. Whereas I know Jess so well now that I'm like, it's either plants or spirituality. We'll go and have a look and see what we can find.
Yeah.
So yes, they're my spiritual, even though Untamed is not classically spiritual. To me it is. So they're my spiritual books, and the other 2 I have are, well, one's a novel and one's an autobiography. So
okay.
Teaser.
So I'm trying to think of which one I want to do next. I think that we're going to talk about this next.
Ooh.
It is Attached. This is a relatively newer book. It is by Amir Levine, and then Rachel Heller. This is a relatively newer book. This is one that I had been recommended in a therapy group that I was in, and everybody was talking about this book and how it had like changed their lives and everything. So I was like, okay. So I went ahead and bought it and read it, and I read pretty much everything. I think I have like that much left, so not very much left at all. This book is phenomenal. So it talks about the 3 different attachment styles. We have anxious attachment, we have avoidant attachment, and then we have secure attachment, of course, for our relationships. But this talks about how also your attachment style goes so much beyond just relationships. It can impact how you attack your everyday life, the opportunities that you're willing to accept into your life. And more than just your romantic relationships. It has like a little test that it will give you too, where you mark some boxes off and it tells you whether you're leaning anxious or whether you're leaning avoidant. And one thing that I love about this book is it does not demonize you either way, because there's a lot of rhetoric out there that will demonize avoidance and that will also demonize anxious attachments, and this book just helps you discover what your attachment style is, why you feel that way, usually relating back to childhood, but it will tell you certain things. It gives you stories from people and how they've approached relationships, what's happened in their life, and how it's actually, turned them into who they are today. And then it helps you find the tools that you need to recognize attachment styles within other people, so you don't get yourself into these situations anymore. So basically, because I lean anxious attachment, so I have a huge fear of abandonment. I have a huge fear of rejection. So I'm very hyper aware and hypersensitive. So I will instantly notice when somebody starts pulling their energy away, when they start acting different. I start to spiral. I get all in my feelings. I've gotten a lot better about clinging on. I used to cling on, call people 50 million times, freak out. Now I'm just like, as soon as I recognize it, I remove you from my existence because I
Yeah.
just don't need it. It's not about you personally. It's about me and knowing who I am and knowing what this is going to do for me because it's very damaging.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's progress, but this book helps you determine if somebody else is anxious, even off of just the first date, how they're talking about relationships, because usually when you go on a first date, you talk about that, what you want and what you've been through, and you just have chit chat and you can find out. And so what this book will do is show you, okay, you're leaning anxious. You will naturally attract avoidant partners. This is what you need to look out for. And before it even gets started or gets too deep or too serious, decide you don't want that and find somebody like this instead.
Yeah.
Because again, this book is not demonizing you and saying you're wrong for being avoidant, you're wrong for being anxious. It's saying you are investing in the wrong partners. You need to invest in somebody who matches your energy, not the opposite of your energy. So an avoidant ideally needs to be with an avoidant.
Yes.
An anxious needs to be with an anxious or a secure. Avoidant, notice how I said, didn't say needs to be with an anxious or a secure, because this book does not recommend that secures actually get with avoidance, just because, again, avoidants tend to avoid. A secure is going to want a healthy amount of, connection and affection that an avoidant is just not going to want to or is willing to give. I cannot gush about this book enough. I've talked to my clients about it. Several people have bought it. Several people have given me amazing feedback about it. This book, if you feel like you are attracting the same person over and over and over again, if you have noticed you go through the same cycles, you get with somebody, it's amazing, and then suddenly you lose attraction. You get with somebody, it's amazing, and suddenly you feel like they're losing attraction. This happens to you over and over and over again. Please pick up this book. Please pick up this book and please read it. It is so fundamental for knowing who you are and helping you navigate your way through relationships. It is awesome, guys. Okay. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But I am just so fired up about this book. I love it.
It's so true. I mean, literally, I've heard you've spoken about it, and you've been telling me how it's really helping you and how it's helping you to understand yourself and for connections with other people. And so, yeah, I know the power of this book. I know the life-changing power that it can have on people, because I've seen it with you. I mean, I've literally, for those who don't know, Jess and I have been best friends for like 11 years now. God help us. I'm getting old, kid. I've seen the difference in you, and I do acknowledge and reward you for the work that you have done and are doing, because you are very, very different now to how you used to be when it comes to this stuff. Very.
Yeah. And I'm really open about it because I feel like there's nothing to be ashamed of, and I've like, so many people struggle with this. And again, it goes back to how I was raised, feeling abandoned, feeling rejected, never feeling good enough, always expecting to be left, always expecting to not be selected or not chosen. This book has really just helped open my eyes up to what's actually happening, why it's happening, and how to avoid it moving forward, and how to even move yourself into secure if that's what you want to do. That's, again, I can't repeat it enough. This book doesn't demonize where you are, but it does give you the tools needed to move into something more secure if that's what you want, So again, and it takes a very scientific approach too. It says the new science of adult attachment and how it can help you find and keep love. So it's not like, I know you hate this word woo-woo. It's very science-based. They do experiments and studies and they talk to people. And so, yeah, love it, love it, love it.
Highly recommend. Love it. Yeah. Love it. So my penultimate book before I do my last one is I read this when I was pregnant with the twins, and my twin pregnancy, for anyone who's ever experienced or watched someone go through a twin pregnancy, is hard. A pregnancy is hard enough, but when you put multiples into that space, it's hard work. It's exhausting. I can't tell you this, at the size of my stomach, well, my abdomen, I looked like I swallowed a bus. I was massive, and of course my back was sore. You can't sleep. You're being sick all the time. If you watch the pregnancy and the motherhood episode, you'll find that it was not a fun time. So these books, because there's a trilogy of them, and this is the first one, got me through. And I was hard enough. I think it would have been even harder without these books. They were literally my lifeline. And so this is book number one, and it is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. And so it's the Millennium Trilogy. And I love these books. I love, and what's interesting looking at all my books is they've all got a really strong female, shocker, woman protagonist, woman voice. This book, and there's now movies, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, is there's a Swedish version, which apparently is better, sorry. And then there's the American version, but with it as well. But they are phenomenal. Let me read you the back cover and I'll explain to you why I love it so much. The Industrialist. Henrik Wagner, head of the dynastic Wagner Corporation, is tormented by the loss of a child decades earlier and convinced that a member of his family has committed murder. The journalist, Mikhail Blomkvist, delves deep into the Wagner's past to uncover the truth behind the unsolved mystery. But someone else wants the past to remain a secret and will go to any lengths to keep it that way. And then The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Lisbeth Salander, the enigmatic, delinquent, and dangerous security specialist, assists in the investigation. A genius computer hacker, she tolerates no restrictions placed upon her by individuals, society, or the law. And so it really is this thriller, this murder investigation, this conspiracy book, this twists and turns. It keeps you on the edge of your seat constantly. That like I would read chapters and I realize I've been holding my breath without even, because I get out and go, because it's so tense. Stieg Larsson, God love him, is no longer with us. He passed away some years ago. And there has been a book that's come out since where he started it and somebody else finished it, called The Girl Caught in the Spider's Web. But he's just a phenomenal writer. He can, as an empath as well. So I am that person, like, if someone's crying, I'm crying. If someone's feeling tense, I'm feeling tense. Like, I will feel the emotion of the piece. And, like, it's so, you are invested in that world. You are invested in these characters. And she, Lisbeth, is an amazing female protagonist. She is so strong. She is so independent. She takes no crap from anybody. I can't, if you're really interested in a good read and you love novels, I love this trilogy with everything. It's one of my absolute favorites, and I can't recommend it enough. It's a bit maybe heavy for a beach read, a holiday read, but if you're looking for a new series to get your teeth into, these are awesome. They're so good.
I think they're quite popular too. Like a lot of people, because I haven't read that book, but I've heard about it. Like, you know, a lot of people like it. Didn't it get turned into a movie or something?
That's what I was saying. Yeah, so it was a Swedish version first with subtitles, of course, and then they did the American remake of it. But apparently, the Swedish version was better. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I'm not one of those people that thinks America has to be the best at everything, so you don't have to worry about that. You already know that. But no, yeah, it sounds really awesome.
And it's another big read. So this isn't a 5-minute thing, and there's 3 of them. So, well, 4 now, but 3 definitely. But if you wanted a good book, a good story to get your teeth into, highly recommend.
Yeah, well, it sounds really intense. So,
okay. So what's the last book, Sweet Pea?
My last book is another quite recent book. Katie knows.
Yes. She keeps asking me to get it. I haven't bought it yet, but I think I may be.
You don't need to buy it because this is going to be one of the gifts for you coming up. We have your birthday and Christmas coming up. This will be one of them.
Awesome.
Because this book is amazing, y'all. This is another book that was recommended through therapy. You can actually get some great book recommendations like there. But anyways, okay, so this is Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, How to Heal from Distant, Rejecting, or Self-Involved Parents by the amazing Lindsay Gibson. That's what it looks like. This book, man. Katie knows because I have talked to her about it so much.
I feel we've got like an official book club with Jess. She'll read a chapter and then we have to come. Bear in mind, I haven't read it yet, but we have to talk about what she read in the chapter. Like, it's so powerful.
It is so disgustingly profound. Like, it's one of those books where you almost want to hide from the truth of it because you're like, oh God, like, you know, this book has made me cry.
Yeah.
This book has made me feel triggered. it's made me feel shame even for like my own parenting and how I've seen that maybe I actually was this way at some point. And like it'll like make me think back to certain moments where I was just like, oh my God, I did that. Like, you know, it is so powerful, y'all. So powerful. If you feel like you are a child of somebody who they just didn't have enough emotional space for you, they were always going through something, they were struggling with their own addictions, they were struggling with their own stuff. Maybe they were leaning on you for everything. You were their emotional support system instead of them being your emotional support system. Maybe you were a child, the eldest or whatever, and you felt like you had to take care of your other siblings because your parent just couldn't do it. This book will change your life. This talks you through what it's like to have a parent like that, what it's like to be a parent like that.
Yeah.
It helps you empathize with your parents to see why they are the way that they are. It gives you a checklist, much like Attached, the other book. It gives you a checklist where you can check, was your parent like this? Were they emotionally available? Did they support you? Did they hold you back? This, and then you can see. But most people who get this book, the title is going to get you. You're going to be like, yeah, that's definitely my childhood. You know what I mean? This book has made me want to be, it makes me want to cry because this book has touched me in such an emotional way, and it makes me want to be a better parent. It shows you like the generational cycles of how your grandparents treated your parent this way, they treated you this way, and now, oh, am I treating my kids this way? And then how are they going to treat their kids? It shows you everything. So like I said, this will empower you, it'll liberate you, but it'll also make you want to hide a little bit because you're like, oh man, like I do some of that stuff. I see how I treat people because of what I've been through. I'm so into self-help books and self-development books. Like that's what I read now. Back in the day, I used to read romance novels. Now I'm all about self-help and self-development and psychology and you know, emotions and stuff. But this book, God, this is another book where if I could buy everybody in the world a copy, I would. Because I feel like this would just help so many people through their trauma that they've been through.
There's a wonderful quote. Funny enough, I mentioned this to one of my clients this morning. Good art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable.
Yeah.
I can't remember who said it, but
oh my God.
Like,
it disturbs you. I want to read something real quick. It says, discover the 4 types of difficult parents. The emotional parent instills feelings of instability and anxiety. We have the driven parent, stays busy trying to perfect everything and everyone, except focusing on their kids. We have the passive parent, avoids dealing with anything upsetting. And the rejecting parent is withdrawn, dismissive, and derogatory. And sometimes you might find that your parents were a combination.
Yeah, I was going to say, or you can have obviously 2 parents and they've both got different styles. So you're kind of dealing with multiple things at the same time.
Yeah. And I'm saying, or yeah, like your dad could be one way, your mom could be one way or whatever. Again, guys, I can't force anybody on this podcast to do anything, but I strongly suggest picking up this book. It's only like $14, $15 a steal. Such an easy read. Instantly grips you.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, and then again, we'll turn that mirror around and shine on you where you're like, oh shit, I need to do better. I want to be better. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. I love it. I can't wait to read it when it comes. So yes, definitely.
It's definitely coming your way, sister. For sure.
So the last book, and okay, I don't say this lightly, it changed my life. And I also know that it had a profound effect on society. That's how powerful this book is. And I love an autobiography and a memoir, obviously. I love people's stories, obviously. This book, when it came out, you will know her when I mention her name. You won't know her name, but you will know, if you've ever watched Charmed, the TV show about witches, you probably know who I'm going to talk about. And this led, in part, to the Me Too movement. That's how powerful this book is. And the book is Brave by Rose McGowan. This book is so powerful. Oh my God, it is her autobiography. And my God, has she had a life thus far? I mean, growing up in a cult with her parents and then breaking free and going to Hollywood and trying to strive and struggle to try and be an actress is the first thing. But then, of course, her relationships with men and how abusive and toxic and destructive those can be with the wrong men. And
Mhm.
she was, because she was in a space where she wasn't as strong as well, she wasn't connected to her in the strength as she is now. She was susceptible. And of course, the big moment in the book is when Harvey Weinstein sexually assaults her. And she doesn't hold anything back at all. At
Mhm.
all. It's uncomfortable to read. It is. It
Yeah.
makes your skin want to crawl off your body because she doesn't sugarcoat it. She gives you it blow for blow. And if you've ever, as a woman or as a man, experienced any kind of sexual assault in your life, oh my gosh, you feel seen. You feel so seen. You feel so like someone to talk about it in this way. Because normally, it's like these days, especially now with social media, it's like you can't say certain words because you'll get demonetized or it will get reported, and your account will be blocked. So people are talking about it, but not really talking about it. So they say different words. I mean, even like you're talking about people ending it all, they'll say like unalive themselves. It's like you have to watch your language loads these days, and
Yeah.
to read somebody's account who doesn't care and just owns it, it's just, oh god, it makes you want to own your own story. Is what it does, and it is profound, and it made me cry. I wept. There's a few books in my life that have made me really cry. um
Mhm.
Schindler's Ark, which was turned in Schindler's List, made me sob. I'm not gonna lie, I was in public crying reading that book because it's so powerful. But as a autobiography, this just got me. And what came out from this book, um, how it really started or helped to start that movement, and knowing that guy eventually, other women came out against him and he's in prison now. Good. I hope he never gets out. It's an amazing book.
Yeah. Wow. I haven't actually heard of that book, and I'm actually very intrigued. I think I'm gonna get it.
Yeah,
Sounds really interesting. I like her, um, too. Of
yeah,
course, I know her from Charmed, but one of my favorite characters that she played was in Jawbreaker, where
yeah,
she was kind of the villain. But I know that she had a relationship, I think, with Marilyn Manson, and yeah.
yeah. And then of course she was the what happened with oh god, what's his name? She was in this movie, so he was. See, this is the premenopausal brain. It's not Quentin Tarantino, it's the other guy. She was in the movie with him. His name's escaped me. It was a director who is known for not treating women very well. And it was
Mhm.
very much trying to treat her and create her into like almost like a blow up sex fantasy doll of herself. So they wanted her to look a certain way and dress a certain way and have her hair a certain way and her lips a certain way. It was very sexualized. And, to lose touch of her, or again, her authentic self, her wildness, and where those spaces led her to. And that's why, you see her shaving her own hair on the front cover. Like literally to go, I don't want to be who you again told me who I should be. This is
Yeah.
and I am a survivor. I am brave. I am myself. And again, if you've ever been through stuff, I'm not saying we should all go and shave our heads. Obviously, I like my hair, but there is something about acknowledging your own. You're not a victim. You are a brave survivor.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Powerful.
awesome,
I'm gonna have to
awesome
check
book.
that book out.
Yeah. So we've had a real mix of books here today. We've had self-help, we've had spirituality, we've had women's empowerment, we've had novels. Like there's something, if you don't find a book recommendation in this podcast, then I don't know what to say to you, quite frankly.
There's been quite a few, and awesome books too.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yes.
for all my book girly slash book boys out there that like to read, hopefully you guys were pleased with this podcast, because yeah.
And we ask you, here's a we want you to do something for us. In the comments on this video, give us a book recommendation, because
Yeah.
you may have gathered, Jess and I love to read, and we love, to see what everyone else is out there kind of reading and enjoying. So what's your favorite book and why is it your favorite book? And tell us, and maybe we can like go, actually, I found a massive, amazing book from one of our people that watched the podcast.
Yeah, because I love getting book recommendations. I actually got one from something she did her own book thing and what she was liking, and it was Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. That's what I'm currently reading. So yeah, any kind of book recommendations, I'm on board for that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this, and we hope that it's inspired you and given your creative juices flowing. We love that. My turn to pick, which I was thinking about it before we came on, and I was like, and I just look at her face, she's all worried now. She's like, "Oh Christ, what are we talking about next week?" I want to talk about something which has really meant a lot to me in my life and the journey that I've been on. I want to talk about self-love, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm never gonna be like, no.
Well, just I just want to see how triggered you are, because, like you say, the minute she's like, okay," then, but yeah, we're on board. This is fun.
I've already discovered that with some of these episodes, we're just gonna have to be vulnerable.
Yeah, I
So
know.
it just is what it is.
I know, I know. She's not as kind of resistant to it as the first couple of episodes that we did.
Yeah. Now I'm just kind of like, let's talk about it.
Thank you guys so much for watching this. As ever, the usual drill: like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And yeah, just thank you for being here. We love you so much. You guys are awesome. And
Bye.
we'll see you next time. Take care, guys.